Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Donation with Gift of Hope Season 2. I'm your host, Olivia Fox, and this is an interactive show where you, the viewers, can call in and ask any questions that you might have about the organ and tissue donation community. We're also streaming live each week at cantv.org/hotline, and you can call in and join our conversation at 312-738-1060. So I know a lot of you all have been hearing the commercials and we're like, talk donation. What's this show about? What type of donation? Donation of charity, donation of education, what? In actuality, it's a little bit of both. Donation to our fellow man, woman, and child, as well as education about organ and tissue donation. Each week, our show features a special guest, and we will take time to talk about the importance of organ and tissue donation, especially in minority communities, and the specific things about what people need to know. Ultimately, our sole purpose is to give you enough information to dispel many long-standing myths and misconceptions, while also helping our viewers understand that Gift of Hope is a very honorable partner in the community. And we recognize that minorities have fears of the healthcare entities and the healthcare industry, and let's face it, a lot of that is very well-founded. However, over the last 30 years, with advances in modern medicine, amazing transplant physicians, our hospitals, religious partners, and community partners, Gift of Hope has helped our community turn tragedies to triumphs while supporting our donor families, recipients, and those waiting for a life-saving organ tissue donation. So welcome. We will return for our regularly scheduled program after our weekly public service announcement.
Nikki's donations made a huge impact on a lot of people. This one right here, sitting next to me especially. When Gift of Hope came to me and asked me for the donation, it made me feel very confident knowing that I can give my baby's heart. This is Nikki's heart beating inside Tanisha's chest.
So when I heard this pounding, like, what is that noise? And the nurse said to me, that's your heart.
I carried Nikki for 9 months. Now Tanisha's gonna carry her the rest of her life.
Say yes to donation. Start the conversation with your loved ones today.
So for tonight, we're going to get started with some donation news. April is National Donate Life Month. I think that we touched on that a little bit on the past couple of weeks, but I just want everybody to know and understand that April is National Donate Life Month. This is an observance that is very, very important to the organ and tissue donation community. It was instituted in 2003 by Donate Life Month America and its community partners. So here in our service area, Donate Life America's community partners include us, Gift of Hope, the Secretary of State's Life Goes On program, Eversight, iBank, and Team Illinois. This means that each year for the entire month of April, it features local, regional, and national activities to help encourage Americans to register as organ and tissue donors, organ, eye, and tissue donors. We also, during this time, take special time to honor and remember and cherish our donors, those that have gone on to become heroes, and that have gone on to save lives. This year's Donate Life Month artwork, which we have pulled up here, actually features a really cool piece of artwork. So it is a rainbow with some clouds and an awesome quote that says, "Be a rainbow in someone else's cloud." That's a quote by Maya Angelou, and I really think that that does a nice job of really describing what it means to be an organ and tissue donor and what it means to leave this type of gift. Also during this month, we are featuring Gift of Hope's Donate Life Month branding, which is plant a seed of hope, and that is what every donor does with their donation and with the gift that they leave and the legacy that they leave. Also during April, we celebrate Transplant Nurses Day, which was actually April 18th. So we often say about our donors, not all superheroes wear capes. So we're so thankful for our transplant nurses and everyone that participates in the transplant process. Special shout out to all the transplant nurses at the transplant centers in our service area. Some of the ones that are right around us in the studio area. include UIC, Northwestern, UFC is not that far. So a lot of great transplant partners, a lot of awesome transplant programs in our service area of Illinois and Northwest Indiana. Thank you to all that you all do at those facilities. And finally, in donation news, we have a very, very special story about donation that we have had featured. We're going to pull it up here. This is Mario's story, and we're going to take a look at Mario's story. And after we look at that, we're going to be joined by a very, very special guest that I'm really excited to have tonight. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties for the evening, but that's okay. We're going to get right to our special guest. So our special guest for this evening will be on, but while he gets on, we're going to remind you to join the donor registry. If you have any questions about organ and tissue donation, visit giftofhope.org. If you would like to participate with Gift of Hope, if you would like to have us come share our message anywhere, you can definitely reach out directly to me at ofox@giftofhope.org. And most importantly, if you don't do anything else, start the conversation with your loved ones today. Let your loved ones know what it is that you would want to be done after it is that you leave this earth. So I'm so excited to be joined by a very close friend, Mr. Lawrence Litt. Hey, Lawrence.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
So I'm so excited to have Lawrence because he's actually a personal friend of mine. I actually call him my brother.
Yes.
We have been friends since the beginning of high school. And actually, before I even started with Gift of Hope, and before my mom even went through what she went through, I had a friend that went through a very, difficult illness. And so Lawrence is here tonight to tell a little bit about his story and about how he was affected by tissue donation. So I won't tell his story. That's what he's here to do. So let's get right into it, Lawrence.
Well, a little bit about myself. 10-year survivor of osteosarcoma. It's bone cancer of the left femur.
Mm-hmm.
I was diagnosed at the age of 14, like you said. We was freshmen in high school. I was playing basketball in gym class and my hip gave out. And from that point on, that's when we found out that I had cancer. I went through I think about 6 surgeries on my hip to reconstruct my hip. Also, while going through the reconstruction of my hip, I did receive donation from a donor to give a cadaver femur, which I have someone else's femur in my leg, which allows me to walk without having to be able to have a hip replacement as I get older. This hip is my hip. My body accepted it, and it grows with me. Now I'm 10 years later. I'm walking, I'm running, and I'm healthy. I'm happy to be here.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
Yes.
And every week we say that organ and tissue donation is life-saving and life-enhancing. And, sometimes they say that tissue donation is the life-enhancing part. But in your case, I really believe that it was life-saving.
Oh my
It
God.
Definitely saved your leg, if not your life.
Yes, it did.
So that is something that I think people don't realize with tissue donation. So,
It's very important.
what would have been the other option if you did not receive this tissue donation?
Well, there was kind of 3 options.
Okay.
The first option was to completely take my hip, but if they would have took my hip, the cancer was kind of almost at the ball of the hip of my joint. So if they would have took the hip, I wouldn't have nowhere for a prosthetic to attach to. So that was the first option. The second option would have been a total hip replacement. And if I would have got a hip replacement, with me being 14 at that time, I would have had to go back in around when I was in my late 30s and have to get another hip replacement. They say like every 20 years, they get a hip replacement. So that was the second option. And the third option was that if the cancer was isolated, I went through a round of chemotherapy once they found out. And if the cancer was isolated, they was able to remove as much cancer they could, and they could save the ball of my hip. Then they was going to try this procedure they never did at that point in time.
Wow.
I was actually one of the second children that they perform that operation on.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I was going through my diagnosis, my mother was doing some extensive research. She worked at Northwestern, and she was very familiar with doctors and surgeons in that area. And we actually found a surgeon who specialized in osteosarcoma in the hip.
Right.
He flew from Texas, and
Wow.
he had an office in Chicago also. And he came in, he met me, and he took it right on. And he performed a surgery that he did on someone else that they did in the knee. And I was the first person that he ever did it in the hip, where they actually saved the ball of my hip, had a cadaver femur, put it in there. They put a rod through, and put a plate on the side. I was bedridden for almost 8 months after that point, because they was able to have to watch me, because it was a learning process for him and other others around. And here I am. Like I can't be thankful or blessed for the opportunity that I have.
Wow.
Yes.
Talk about modern medicine, right?
Modern medicine.
So
yes.
in that intro, we talked about, donation and transplantation has been able to progress because of modern medicine. And if you think about it, back in the day, a lot of different illnesses that led to children getting their legs amputated, that was the only option.
Yeah.
I have an aunt that, had her leg amputated because of a childhood illness. So, now with advances in modern medicine and these techniques that they can use, and then also with tissue donation, they're really able to change people's story, one that would have ended, one way, and now it's almost like your life is, completely normal.
And I'm back to normal as much as I can be, and I'm blessed. They told me that if it was 2 years prior, and that was in 2008, if it was 2 years prior, I would have had to get my leg amputated or had the hip replacement. So I'm blessed for modern medicine, and I'm blessed for the surgeon that I had. In fact, remember Mayor Daley? His wife. She just passed. I don't remember her name. Maggie Daley. Yes, she had the same cancer as me, and the same placement, and we had the same surgeon.
Wow.
Yes. So he was a specialty for her, and he worked on her, and unfortunately, he worked on me before he got the opportunity to work on her, and he lost his life. Before he was able to finish up with her. And my respects go out to the Barry Daly family, but I was just blessed to encounter with him, and he saved my life, he saved my leg. Wow. And he made it possible for me to be here today.
Wow.
Yes.
And I just remember during that time how brave you were, because, we were in high school, and when you came back to school, you were on crutches, and then we ended up going to a dance together.
Yeah, I remember
and you had
that.
A cane,
oh my God.
And so you were just so brave to, kind of be one of those people that they, tested that on, and you are a testimony of how that worked, and how they really were able to save you, like you said. So what did this donation mean in your life? How could things have ended up different for you? Like, what are things like for you now?
This donation means everything to me. It provides for me to able to feel normal when I know I'm not normal, but I'm able to just have my leg. I was battling a lot with if I was to not have a leg again. I was already going through a lot with just being diagnosed at an early age, and just being able to have someone out there that was able to donate their limbs for me. It meant the world to me. Me and my family actually gave my leg a nickname. It's called Larry the Bone.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
My body accepted it, and I'm here today, and I'm so thankful.
Yeah.
So thankful.
And I'm sure you think about and remember that person that gave the gift all the time, right?
Always. I wish that I could have back then had this opportunity to work with Gift of Hope, to kind of interact with the people, to know who gave me the bone. So I think we were doing some research then, but we kind of lost wayside. But I wish I was able to more kind of encounter with that family and touch base with that family and thank that family, and just give them my love, because they gave me love.
Wow. Well, you know what? That's a really interesting point. And, just so that it's not too late to reach out to that donor family. So that is one of the things that Gift of Hope is responsible for. In addition to coordinating donation and transplantation within our service area, we're also responsible for educating the community and then also supporting donor families, which means that we are the ones that kind of are that middle between recipients and donor families. So if it is that you ever want to write a letter to your donor family,
I do.
you can write that letter and you send it in to Gift of Hope. Let's switch over to the Gift of Hope information real quick so that everybody can see it. You can reach out to us at giftofhope.org, and just like Lawrence is going to do, you can write a note to your donor family if you are a recipient, and Gift of Hope will help you get in touch with that donor family and make sure that that letter gets to them. And most often than not, that donor family is really, really excited to meet the recipient, and is really, really pleased to hear that their loved one has gone on to, really change someone else's life. So thank you for that question. That's perfect.
I'm definitely going to do it.
Cool. So it looks like we got a caller. Go ahead and put the caller through, Desmond. Hey, caller, what's your name and what's your question?
This is Monica Fox calling.
Hey, Monica Fox.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, so I'm calling first with a comment and then with a question. So my comment is that I am so happy to see Lawrence on this show sharing his story because it's so incredibly important.
Thank you.
And I'm just so blessed that God took care of you, covered you, supported your mother through all of this
Oh my gosh, she's
time back then. She's a strong lady, and she really advocated for you. And I'm just glad to know you guys.
Thank you.
So, and I'm also proud of you for following your passion and working continuing to work with the camp that you went through. And I would love for you to share about that if you haven't already done so.
Okay.
Cool. Yes.
Yes.
That's an awesome question, and thank you so much for that question. If anybody is not a regular viewer, that is my mom. So she knows Lawrence and his story very well. And so that's a great question. Tell us a little bit about the cancer organization that you work with, and you want to know what I also just want to say quickly. It's important for us to think about all of the illnesses and things that end up leading to people needing either organ transplants or a tissue transplant. There are a lot of things. So in Lawrence's case, it was cancer, but in other cases, it's high blood pressure, diabetes, different diseases that attack the liver and other organs. So there are really a wide array of things that people go through in which they end up needing transplant. In Lawrence's case, it was cancer. So if you want to tell us a little bit about how that organization was able to support you, that's another really great nonprofit organization.
The name of the organization is called Camp One Step by Children Oncology Services. It's an organization that provides camps for kids who have or had cancer. No matter what you had, you can have any type of cancer. You can have brain tumors. You can have anything, and you can come to camp and you can perform regular activities. As if you was out in the regular world. We have a full staff hospital on campus. So we have it's called a med staff. We have from nurse practitioners to doctors to nurses. That way, you can have the kids can be able to live out their dreams and their hopes and be around people who actually going through the same thing they're going through today. So they don't have to feel like they're an outsider because that's how it is. Because when I was going through my treatments. It was back in 2008. The camp started in 1974, if I'm not, that's 78, to be exact. When I was going through my treatments, I felt like I had a lot of people around me, but I felt like I was alone, even with my mother. She was there with me every day, but I felt like nobody understood what I was actually going through. And I went to that camp when I was like 2008, 2009. My mentor, who's now the one that, he works for the company also, and he brought me along. He was the one that took my vitals, and he kept telling me, hey, you need to come to this camp. You need to come to this camp. I was like, no, I don't really want to go. The camp's not really for me. And my mother told me to go to camp. I went to camp for 1 week. I stayed the second week, and I've been going back ever since then. I transitioned through as a camper to a counselor. Then I went to a volunteer, and I just got recently hired to be a full-time program coordinator for the camp.
Wow, that's awesome.
So
and
I'm
what
giving
an
back
awesome
my life to it.
Supportive program that you were able to be part of. If anybody would like to check that out, that's Camp One Step?
CampOneStep.org.
CampOneStep.org.
So it has over 16 camps.
Cool, 16 camps, and very supportive of children who have gone through cancer.
Yes.
So thank you so much for sharing about that organization. Looks like we have one more caller. Time for one more caller. Go ahead and put them through.
Hi, good evening.
Hey, caller.
I was just wondering, is there an age limit for donation? Like at some point you're too old, like
So that's a great question, and the answer to that is no. There is no age limit to donation. We tell everyone to register your wishes. Now you can register as early as the age of 16. Starting January 1st, 16 and 17-year-olds are able to register their wish, and we tell people to register as long as they can make that decision. As long as you are going to the DMV and they're asking you, would you like to be an organ donor, make that wish known.
Yes.
It does not matter. If and when the time comes, the doctors and the physicians will be the ones to determine if something can or can't be used. But my belief is that if it's on your heart to give, that's what really matters. Whether that, donation is able to go through or not, for whatever reason. I always tell everyone, make your wishes known no matter what your age is. And if that time comes, the doctors will make that decision then. Thanks for that question. That's an awesome one.
Definitely.
So looks like we are wrapping up in the next couple minutes, Lawrence.
Yes.
So if let's leave the people with one question that I have for you. What is one thing that you would tell a family that does not believe in organ and tissue donation, especially during this month of April, especially as we encourage people to have the conversations with your loved ones, even if you don't want to register on your driver's license?
Yeah.
Have the conversation with your family and loved ones. What is something that you would like to leave with a family that might feel uncomfortable with this topic?
One thing I would like to leave with a family is just give a gift that keeps on giving. Be a blessing to someone else. It may be unfortunate opportunities that you may lose a family member, but your family member can live on through the life of someone else, as if with me. And it's amazing that Gift of Hope is here to connect people that have lost family members, that can see how their family members have gone on and to save lives and help other lives. I would just say to the family, just continue to be a gift and that keeps on giving, because you never know what you can do for somebody else, and what can always be good to someone else. Just be a blessing and keep on giving. That's what I think I'd be to family. Yes,
that's awesome.
Definitely.
And a lot of times we say that it's not something that we think about until you're in need.
It's never.
So have this conversation now before you or one of your loved ones is in need.
Yes.
Make that promise to do something good for someone else. And I believe that when you say yes to help someone else, your gift will come.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
you will be blessed in return, and your family will be blessed, because when this becomes a conversation, the tragedy has already happened.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do is, turn this tragedy into whatever triumph there is left that there can be, because
Yes.
we know this is something that has been terrible for a family. But if Gift of Hope can aid you in some way in helping your loved one leave a legacy and carrying out their wish to save lives and to enhance lives, just like someone was able to save Lawrence's life and save my mother's life, and all the other recipients out there, we are just so grateful to donor families, and just ask everyone to continue to have that conversation. So continue to be a blessing. So we'll show our info one more time for the evening. You can reach us at giftofhope.org if you're interested in volunteering with our organization or telling your story. We have a volunteer tab on our website. If you would like to reach out directly to me, if you are interested in sharing your story on this show, feel free to reach out to me at ofox@giftofhope.org. And like we said, please start the conversation with your loved ones today. Be a blessing to someone else. Save a life, leave a legacy, be a hero. Not all heroes wear capes.
Yes.
So thank you so much for joining us, Lawrence.
Thank you for having me.
This was
blessed.
awesome. Check us out next week for another episode of Let's Talk Donation with Gift of Hope. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a great evening.
Good night.